The Guitar Hero series is known for having some ridiculously hard achievements, and they're probably among the most impressive games to have completed, if you're the kind of person that's impressed by achievements, that is. I went as far as to say in another video that finishing Guitar Hero 3's achievements is a near impossible task, and I don't think that statement is that outrageous. Taking Guitar Hero 3 and its achievements as an example for a moment, it takes a lot of hours to get good enough to play Expert to the point of 5-starring or even 100%ing songs. Then you'll also need to know someone else who can comfortably play Expert to get the co-op achievements and be able to get them in the same room as you. Then if you manage those, there are some score achievements which only the very top tier of players will be able to unlock, unless you have DLC content making them a fair bit easier. But downloadable content is no longer on the Xbox store for the Guitar Hero games, so unless you already bought them, you're out of luck. There are of course other challenges, but those are probably the hardest, and yet they're completely doable still. Anyone could, in theory, pick up a copy of the game tomorrow having never played it, and eventually unlock all of the achievements. That, however, is not the case with Warriors of Rock. This game is actually impossible to complete thanks to some servers being shut down, leaving certain achievements completely unobtainable. There are other Guitar Hero games that have suffered the same fate, but for today I'll only be talking about Warriors of Rock. Even though it was released in 2010, I only played it for the first time a few years ago, and for the purpose of this video, I started again on a new profile. And whilst it wasn't technically the last Guitar Hero game, it was in most of our hearts. Despite the developers' best efforts to bring the series back to its earlier rock and roll roots after the more varied song lists of games like Guitar Hero 5 and Band Hero, ultimately it just didn't sell enough, with series sales being over 60% down on the previous year. And as a result of this, the Guitar Hero franchise was put on hiatus, and 14 years later we are still waiting for it to return in this form. Even though I was just going on about how hard the achievements in Guitar Hero games are, the achievements in Warriors of Rock as a whole aren't actually too bad. There are only a couple which require the ability to play on higher difficulties, but being able to play Expert will make the whole process quicker. And making the process quicker is very welcome because there are some really long achievements in this game. In total, I had just over 25 hours of footage recorded by the time I had everything I wanted for this video. And there are 93 songs in the game, which does seem like a lot, but as you'll soon see, I had to play each one multiple times, leading to a bit of a demoralising and repetitive grind. The core gameplay is what you'd expect from Guitar Hero, and Warriors of Rock also carried over some newer features such as the bonus challenges for songs, which was introduced with Guitar Hero 5, but what is unique to this one is the quest mode, the game's career or story mode, and the player must save the demigod of rock from a mechanised creature called the Beast, and to do this 8 characters must be recruited for the final battle, each with their own unique power which modifies the gameplay. So just a tad different to the standard Play X tiers of songs format that the rest of the series used, but it doesn't stop there. To recruit a character, you need to perform a number of songs which represent their musical genre. For example, the Mohawk wearing Johnny Napalm has punk songs available, and once you've earned a minimum number of stars for that character, they're transformed into a warrior, boosting their unique power and added to the band for the final battle. And these transformations actually get a little bit dark, and sometimes I wasn't sure if I was playing a horror game at times. But now to get into the achievements, these can be pretty much broken up into the quest, quick play and miscellaneous achievements. There are too many to sit and list, so as usual, I'll just get into the order that I took on the game and unlock them. First things first was the quest, and there aren't the usual note streak, multiplier or even score achievements, so the first bunch that I was unlocking are all story related and rewarded for recruiting each character to my band. And speaking of characters, due to ongoing legal issues with the likeness of celebrities in Guitar Hero 5 and Band Hero, there are no characters of real life musicians in the game. First up was Johnny, who, like I mentioned, has the more punk rock songs, and his power is called Speed Freak, which sets the minimum score multiplier to 2x, and also allows the player to earn extra stars by holding a multiplier of 3 or over. A fair few of the powers in the game earn extra stars, so you'll need to get used to not being capped at 5 stars like the other Guitar Hero games. And once 35 or more have been obtained in this chapter, Johnny will transform into his warrior form, boosting his unique ability, and in this case, Speed Freak Plus means that the multiplier increases at twice the rate, and 5 extra stars are available instead of 2. Johnny also gets a snazzy new look, and I unlocked my first achievement of the game. Next was Echo, whose genre is alt rock and nu metal, with songs like Bleed It Out by Linkin Park and Tick Tick Boom by The Hives. Her ability is Star Power Generator, which fills the Star Power bar by 5% for every 10 note streak, and this rises to 10% when boosted after obtaining 27 stars in the chapter. Warriors of Rock does follow the general Guitar Hero formula of songs increasing in difficulty further into the game, so up to this point everything has been a breeze for me to nail, but I knew that I'd have to come through and play them all again for a future achievement, so I didn't really need to be worried about that anyway. And once Echo was unleashed, I unlocked my next achievement. The third character is Judy Nails, one of only a few who appears in all of the Guitar Hero games, and Johnny is another. Her power is Crowd Hyper, which allows the rock meter to overflow and grant an extra 2 stars, and when boosted, this becomes an extra 5 stars. It takes 45 stars to transform into the warrior form, so a fair amount of songs need to be played in this chapter. The songs vary quite a bit, from classics like Bohemian Rhapsody and Losing My Religion to more modern stuff. I say modern, it's not really modern anymore, like Foo Fighters and Nickelback. And I know it's cool to hate on Nickelback, but I have no shame in thinking that they have some amazing songs. And once I had the 45 stars done in this chapter, I unlocked the Siren achievement. After that was a character that's new to Warriors of Rock, Austin. His genre is classic rock with bands like the Rolling Stones, Dire Straits, and also the Aerosmith song Crying, which for some reason wasn't in Guitar Hero Aerosmith, and I think I actually mentioned that in the video because I didn't really understand it. Austin's power is Star Power Amplifier, which grants 50% of the Star Power bar instead of the standard 25% for completing a Star Power phrase, and after 27 stars, this upgrades to instantly fill the bar 100%. During this chapter, I unlocked the Stellar Centurion achievement for earning 100 stars total, and once Austin was transformed, the Recluse achievement. Now I was halfway through the characters, and I had sort of a boss battle to deal with. At this point in the game's story, the Beast has banished the demigod of Rock's guitar to a cave, and it's up to the characters that I've recruited so far to help find it and retrieve it. It features the song 2112 by Rush, a 20-minute song from their first album that's broken up into 7 parts. These aren't particularly hard at all to get through, and once all 7 were completed, the guitar and achievement were mine. And now back to add the final 4 members to my band, starting with Pandora, whose genre is emo and alt rock. And this is one of my favourite tiers of music in the game. Bands like Rise Against, My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, and one of my favourite songs in Feel Good Drag. Although as much as I love this song, it's sadly quite boring to play. Her power is Star Power Nova, and instead of Star Power doubling a multiplier when activated, it now triples it. And after 24 stars, it's boosted from 3 times to 6 times. Also a shout out to the song Bodies by Drowning Pool, which features in this chapter, as well as what feels like hundreds of RuneScape videos that I've seen in the past. And once Pandora was transformed and recruited, I unlocked my next achievement. Following her was my main man Lars, character you probably saw a lot in the Guitar Hero 3 video, and he's into the metal genre, from classic metal like Black Sabbath to more recent artists such as Slipknot and Atreyu. It's not really metal, but it has one of my favourite songs in the game, Hard to See by Five Finger Death Punch, and this tier is also where I, with my skill level, find that there starts to be some hard songs, mainly Cooling with its relentless strumming. Overall the tier is still fine, but there was 1 or 2 songs that gave me something to think about at least. And actually they're probably harder than anything in the next 2 tiers of songs, strangely. And Lars' ability is Multiplier Extender, and this raises the maximum score multiplier from 4 times to 5 times. And once 27 stars have been obtained, this becomes 6 times. The penultimate character is Casey Lynch, another fan of the classic rock. And Casey's power is the Street Guardian, and that's pretty self-explanatory. It just grants a shield which protects note streaks from a missed note or an overstrum. And if this happens, the shield then needs to be recharged by successfully hitting notes. The ability also grants up to 2 extra stars by maintaining whole multipliers, and when upgraded, this will give you 2 shields instead of 1 and also grant an extra 5 stars. And with Lars and Casey transformed, it meant I now just had 1 character remaining. Last but not least is Axel, another who appears in every Guitar Hero game, and also a lover of hard rock and metal songs. Axel's unique ability is Resurrector. The player is given 2 charges which will revive them if they fail during the song at any point, and once 40 stars have been obtained in Axel's tier, the ability is upgraded to give you 5 charges instead. And if any of those are left over at the end of the song, then they're converted into stars. And with Axel transformed, I'd recruited all 8 characters, getting another achievement in the process, and now it was time for the final boss. So up to this point, there had only really been a handful of songs I considered to be anything even close to mildly difficult, but that was very much about to change. This game doesn't really have a difficulty curve or a spike. It's more like a difficulty missile launch. That's how far detached the remaining songs in the game feel from everything that's come before. And 3 of these songs are what make up the final boss battle against the Beast. all of them by the band Megadeth. The first two are particularly hard. It's not enough just surviving the songs, but there's actually an objective that must be completed along the way too. For the battle, you need to choose the lineup of 2 different bands, meaning you'll get 4 of the powers for one song, and then the other 4 powers for the second. And in order to win, you'll need to obtain at least 12 stars in each song, so pick with that in mind. And also take into consideration which song you find the hardest, which I imagine for pretty much everyone is the second song, This Day We Fight. I found it really hard to hold any sort of streak on that, so for example the Street Guardian achievement would be completely pointless because I was never going to earn those extra stars. I tried a few combinations but I just couldn't manage to get 12 stars on the second song, and every time you change the powers around you have to start from the first song again, which is about 7 minutes long, so it's not ideal. I had absolutely no problems with the first song, Holy Wars, clearing 12 stars with ease, but This Day We Fight proved to be too hard, only managing 9 on multiple occasions. I really wanted to beat this on Expert, but after several attempts, especially whilst knowing that there's no Expert specific achievement, I decided that the stress just wasn't worth it and knocked the difficulty down to hard. Shameful, I know. And on hard, I managed to breeze through, getting 16 stars, freeing the Demigod of Rock and unlocking the Divine Liberator achievement. Now just one song remained for the boss battle, Sudden Death, which is also by Megadeth. And this was actually written by the band specifically for the game, which is pretty cool. And to complete this song, you need to achieve 30 stars whilst playing it, which sounds daunting considering that I was struggling to get 12 on the previous, and I'd also put the difficulty back up to Expert at this point. But you are now all powerful, meaning that every single unique ability is being used at once, so lots more opportunities for stars. And on top of that, the song is just straight up easier. And once I'd battled my way through that, I unlocked the Saviour of Rock achievement, as well as the final tier of songs in the set list, and the ability to play all of the songs again whilst using every power simultaneously. And this is something that I had to do in the name of more gamer score, so back to the start I went, saving the final group of songs for last. So with all powers active, there is now a limit to the amount of stars you can achieve per song, and this is 40. Like I mentioned when first going through the chapters, about half of the powers give extra stars for various performance related things, and then the rest I guess just come from racking up a big score. I'm not sure on the breakdown exactly. Most of these songs, especially at the beginning, were extremely easy to get 40 stars in. The power which is usually the trickiest to maximise is KC Street Guardian, which gives the bonus stars for maintaining a high multiplier. Obviously, if you find the song very hard, then the chances are you won't be holding multipliers long or often enough to earn those extra 5 stars before the end of the song. That isn't something I have to worry about just yet. And you'll know you're good for the 40 stars when you reach 35 whilst playing, and you have the 5 lives from Axel left over at the end. And dominating the first song in Johnny's chapter unlocked the Altered Virtuoso achievement, and from there, I just ground back through the songs. Although I'd nearly played all of them already, there are a few that I hadn't touched yet because I was just moving on to the next character once they'd been transformed, and that didn't require every song in their chapter to be played. I cruised through Johnny and Echo's set list and unlocked my next achievement for dominating 2 chapters before obtaining Gem Collector for hitting a total of 75,000 notes in Quest. There was nothing to trouble me in the 3rd or 4th tiers of songs either, and finishing up gave me Partial Perfectionist for dominating 4 chapters. I'm obviously covering these quickly for the purpose of the video, but these actually took me quite some time, about 40 to 50 minutes each per chapter, so it was quite the slog knowing how many songs I had to get through. And after that one, my next achievement wouldn't be unlocked until I'd dominated all 9 chapters, but there were definitely some hurdles worth mentioning before I get to that point. The first of which came when I had to play the song Cooling again, reaching a rather painful 39 stars. I was only missing the final star from KC Street Power, and then I managed to almost repeat the trick and get 38 on Ties That Bind by Alter Bridge. But rather than grind these out on Expert and potentially waste even more time, I finished off the other songs in the chapter before coming back to these 2 and knocking them out on hard difficulty. Now what I probably should have done from this point is just keep it on hard and avoid any more painful near misses and saving myself the stress, but my brain doesn't work like that. So back to Expert I went and into Casey's chapter. Everything was going smoothly until the song Move It On Over, where I was hit by the dreaded 39 stars once more. But rather than move on, I immediately restarted it with the difficulty load, and of course got the 40 no problem. And moving on to the next song, putting it back on Expert, and I can't believe what I'm about to say, but I immediately had to do exactly the same thing. I really do not know why I'm like this. I'm pleased to say that I managed to get through the last song without repeating the problem for a 3rd time in a row, and then surprisingly didn't run into any problems with Axel's songs until the last one. and you can probably guess what happened next. This was maybe the most soul destroying of them all though. If you look how close the orange bar was to filling, giving me that 40th star before I choked the outro solo and lost the multiplier. So after spending 6 more minutes that really should have been avoided completing it on hard, I had all tiers but one dominated, and all that remained was the Demigod of Rocks chapter. Clearly I like to live life on the edge, or I have some morbid curiosity, because I couldn't help but try my luck at expert. The first song was fine, the rest however were certainly not. I did at least realise it would be completely pointless to try the Megadeth songs on expert, considering how much I struggled during the boss battle, as well as the Black Widow of Laporte, as this song I'll be coming back to on expert a bit later for a different reason. And despite knowing I had no chance of getting the 40 stars, I couldn't not play Dragon Force on expert just for the fun. So unsurprisingly, on my first attempts I didn't get anywhere close to 40 stars on most of these, and I think my lowest was actually the song Speeding by Steve Vai, and I didn't even reach 30 on that one. So I put my ego to one side, put the difficulty down to hard, and did what I needed to do. But just when I thought this game couldn't humiliate me anymore, I was proven very wrong, by not even managing the 40 stars on This Day We Fight on hard. I was completely done by this point, so with absolutely zero regrets, I played out the final song of my quest career on medium difficulty. And with the 40 stars obtained, rather shamefully, I had all songs and all chapters dominated, unlocking the perfect perfectionist achievement. I actually had a couple of other quest related achievements left to mop up, but I decided at this point that I needed a break from this game mode and I'd come back later to them. Overall, I'd spent 13.5 hours doing everything up to this point in the quest mode, but that could have been reduced by a fair bit if I wasn't stubbornly trying every song on expert and having to replay a bunch towards the end. So if you're like me, going for the achievements, but not like me and want to make it as painless and easy as possible, then just stick the difficulty down and it'll be a breeze. But where being able to play expert difficulty will help is the next game mode I took on, Quick Play, because this is another really big grind. In Warriors of Rock, Quick Play has an exciting new name, Quick Play Plus. This is because of the new Power Challenge feature, as well as carrying over the song challenges introduced in Guitar Hero 5. And each song has 13 challenges split across all the different playable instruments, and there might be some that require a band, but I'm not sure about that one. These require the player to hit certain objectives like hit X amount of chords, alternative strum X amount of notes, or reach certain score thresholds, with gold, platinum and diamond being the ranks and 1, 2 or 3 stars awarded respectively. These don't scale to the difficulty you're playing on, so I'm pretty sure without playing on expert, getting diamond rank on nearly all of these is impossible. Most are straightforward, but some are a bit more strange, and one in particular is very gimmicky. This is the Rock Out Challenge, which requires you to shake the guitar while star power is active. But I found to get it to actually register properly, I basically had to throw the guitar around, and I was glad nobody was around to watch me do it, but here I am putting it on the internet for all to see. The power challenges, however, don't have an objective. You just pick 2 of the unique powers to use after they've been unlocked in Quest, and see how many stars you can get in the song with them. And now to get into the achievements, the most time consuming is Ace Astrologer for earning a total of 2,000 stars in Quick Play. This sounds like a lot, because it is. It's probably not quite as bad as it sounds for the reasons that I'm about to get into, but it's still pretty bad. Doing the power challenge with Crowd Hyper Plus and Resurrector Plus was earning me around 15 stars per song, and then it's possible to get up to another 15 stars again from the same song by playing it again and doing the star challenges, awarding the standard 1 to 5 stars based on performance with 1 extra for 100%ing the song, and then up to another 9 if I managed to get diamond in all 3 of the guitar challenges. This is the absolute max that I would get per song, but usually it was less. I was playing on expert, so very rarely actually 100%ed it, and sometimes I didn't manage to get the diamond ranks either. The first few achievements came nice and quickly. Firstly, for collecting at least 115 songs. This literally popped as I opened Quick Play for the first time. And then after playing Bleed It Out, I unlocked achievements for getting diamonds on at least 2 challenges at once, gold on 3 at once, and also a very luck-based and random achievement for finishing a song with a score that's evenly divisible by 6. That is a very weird one, that. So in the Quick Play menu, there's the ability to sort songs by difficulty, artist and other metrics, but most usefully for us on this grind, song length. So I just started my way from the top with the shortest songs and worked my way down, playing each one twice, once for the power challenge and once for the standard star challenges. It's worth mentioning one of the unobtainable achievements here. When selecting a song, you can obviously see your best scores for the various challenges, and it's possible to target them and try and improve on it. There's an achievement for bettering your own grade, which I managed easily enough, but there's also an achievement for targeting someone else's score and beating that. The problem is that the servers that make this possible are no longer working, so no one else's scores will show up, meaning that this is an achievement that will forever remain unclaimed for me. There are also achievements for creating a 5-song custom playlist and getting 5 stars on each, as well as doing the same for a random 5-song playlist. I did the random playlist on hard just to save me the pain of reaching the 5th song only for it to be Dragon Force or something. And other than that, I just kept working my way down the list, playing lots and lots of songs. In total, I have just over 11 hours of gameplay recorded in quick play alone, and I did this over the course of a few days to keep my sanity. Along the way, I unlocked achievements for earning 100, 500, 1000, and after many hours, 2000 stars. So up to this point, I'd spent about 25 hours on the game and had the bulk of the really time-consuming achievements unlocked, and there was now some mopping up to do. First up was the Player of the Earworm achievement, which is achieved by playing the same song 10 times across all game modes. I knew by now that I'd played every song several times at least, so I just hopped back into Quest and played one of the shortest in the game, Get Free, over and over until the achievement popped. And the reason that I did this in Quest was for the next achievement, hitting 150,000 notes total in the Quest mode. I had a look online, it was recommended to play Fury of the Storm on hard bass over and over due to it containing a couple of thousand notes and not being particularly difficult if you can manage to strum at a consistent speed for 7 minutes straight. I knew that I had to be pretty close after dominating all the chapters, but as far as I'm aware there's no way to tell how many notes you've hit, but it didn't end up taking me long because after literally the first playthrough of the song, the achievement was done and so was my time in this game mode. And next were a couple of song specific achievements, firstly for beating Megadeth's Holy Wars on hard difficulty bass. This was pretty straightforward. Obviously I don't usually play bass, so I'm not used to playing the open notes, but the song is easy enough that I didn't get anywhere close to failing at any point. And once those 7 minutes were over, I was one step closer to being done with the game. But before getting into the second and much harder song specific achievement, I needed to reach a score of 1 million plus in a single power challenge. Luckily, this is also 1/1000th of the difficulty of Guitar Hero 3's score achievement, so there was no such repeat of that nightmare grind, if you will excuse the pun. I simply selected the Star Power Amplifier and Nova Powers and played through Foo Fighters' No Way Back. This song is mostly chords, so I had the 1 million points way before the end. That brings me to the hardest achievement that I'll be covering in this video, named very appropriately, the Hand Mutilator. It's unlocked by beating the song Black Widow of Laporte on expert guitar, and this has to be done on quick play with no bonus powers active. And being another song that's over 7 minutes long, it's mostly a test of endurance. Once past the intro, you don't really get a moment to rest until the very end. And whilst there are definitely 2 sections that stand out from the rest, the entire thing is well capable of failing you out in a flash if you do slip up. The first of those 2 sections is named Web Spinning, and it's made up of these 3-note zigzags. I was hoping to save star power for this bit, but was forced into using it just before because I was about to fail, so I was slightly worried that this was going to be the end of the run. I don't have the finger speed to hit all of these turns, so I employed the same tactic that I did for Through the Fire and Flames in Guitar Hero 3, and rather than try and hit all of the notes, I just focused on 2 colours for each of the repeating patterns, making sure to hit those. My rock meter was still going down, but much slower than if I'd been attempting and failing to hit all of the notes. And once through that, it's just a general shred fest for the next few minutes, and I do actually really like this song. I can't say that I listen to much, if any, instrumental speed metal, but if I did, this would be first on my playlist. And the second of the really difficult sections is the Spider Crawl. The pattern is definitely less obvious than the web spinning part, but it's also luckily pretty short. I popped star power towards the end just to be safe, but I didn't get close to failing. If it was twice as long, then I probably would have had a problem though. And anyway, after that, there's only a minute or so to go until the end, and that's nothing that's going to trip you up if you already made it this far. And finishing up, unlocked the Hand Mutilator achievement on my first attempt. And the final 3 achievements of this video were all quick and a piece of cake. Firstly, for 5-starring one of the Neversoft custom tracks that comes with the game. They're all very short, but the achievement also requires the song to have at least 200 notes, so it might not be possible on all of them. I did it on expert, so that wasn't a problem anyway. And next I hit every note in the tutorial exercise before finally playing over 100 notes in a Guitar Hero jam session. This is a part of the studio where you can create, save and upload your own songs. And this also brings me on to some achievements that I won't be showing in this video. Most of what remains are band related or require a different instrument like the drums to be played. But there are also some other specific score achievements like the Divisible by 6 one that I got earlier. These are, in my opinion, completely stupid because they're totally random and luck based. However, people actually spent some time making custom tracks in the studio for others to download, but unfortunately, due to the servers, it's not possible to download them, so I'm out of luck of an easy way of getting those achievements. In the future, I might put the effort in to make them myself, but first I need to decide if I really care enough. And what I definitely will be doing at some point is a mop-up video covering multiple Guitar Hero games and featuring any band related or other achievements that I've missed up to this point. I still have loads of Guitar Hero content planned, with 2 in Metallica probably being next on my list, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. And anyway, that's all for this video, so thanks for watching and I'll catch you next time.